So now, let us invite our next speaker, Wim Rennery, Vice President and General Manager for Accessory and Wearable Solutions Business Line from AMS. He will give us a presentation on a very interesting topic about an innovative solution developed by AMS, which can make the COVID-19 test digital. Without further ado, let us invite Wim to give us his presentation on Spectral Sensing-Enabled Digital LFT, Smart Device, Smart Decisions, Smart Nation. Wim, please.
Thank you. Let me share my screen 1 second. Is the screen visible?
Yeah, good. That's good. Thanks.
Well, thank you for inviting us. I think this is a very interesting time to talk about how the semiconductor industry can help everyone's life. We're all sitting at home because of course, the COVID-19 virus. And at AMS, we have been innovating with spectral sensors already for quite some years. And with that innovation, we have found a way to make testing for COVID-19 way easier and way more reliable. So this is what I'd like to share with you. And with such an innovation, we hope that we can have smart ways to get back to normal life. So first, a few words about AMS. So AMS is focusing on becoming the optical leader. So we have solutions for consumer, automotive, industrial, and medical markets, as you might have seen in the video presentation at the beginning of the session. We show a very strong growth with 30% year-on-year growth. And we keep on growing with a focus on sensor-rich markets. So the topic of today is about testing. So about 2 years ago, we at AMS started investigating how can we improve lateral flow testing with our spectral sensors. And since the beginning of this year, when it became apparent that fast tests are necessary, we have accelerated that development to allow a very user-friendly product go to market. If you look at how testing is done today, we can differentiate two main technologies. One is called PCR, polymerase chain reaction method. This is a very accurate and sensitive solution because you use a multiplication factor of a virus that is present in your body. This can only be done at a lab environment, which means that it takes quite some time to get from infection to test results. So you first have to show symptoms, otherwise you don't go to a doctor. Then you go to a doctor, make an appointment, takes some time. And then again, it takes time before the test is available. So that's not the most desired way. It creates challenges at capacity at professionals. Another solution is so-called lateral flow test. This is a simpler approach. You can use a swab, a nasal swab, and one of our focuses is to make that even more user-friendly, such that you can use saliva. And with that, you can have test results already within 15 minutes. It's a cost-effective method. And what we're doing at AMS is use the spectral sensing to make it really very accurate, very close to PCR performance, but with all the benefits of having it connected to the cloud and make an objective measurement of the sample that is provided. This can be done at professional care, shown at the left bottom picture, but the test is so simple that you can envision tests to be available for home use. And that's the ultimate goal, that people get themselves tested before they go out. And with that, we hope we can contribute as AMS to minimizing the pandemic and the infection throughout the world. So if you look at the challenges that we see, what do we want to have? So what is the need of the healthcare? We want, of course, to have an early infection detection. This is key to preventing spreading. That also means that you need immediate test results. You cannot afford to wait a few times because it requires people to go into quarantine, and you want to limit that, of course, as much as possible. It needs to be affordable because many tests are needed, and we cannot afford expensive tests. It should be easy. You want to have capabilities everywhere, at schools, of course at the borders, at airports, and ideally at home before you start traveling anywhere or get together with a group of friends. Another important thing is, and we have seen that to go wrong, if there is manual intervention of logging test results, it takes time, and B, it is error prone. So we want to have a solution that is automatically collecting the data and sharing, of course, obeying the privacy rules and the medical certification rules. Another thing that will be very important in the upcoming months is if we see vaccines come to market. There are so many people that need vaccines, of course, so it's important to know who should get a vaccine and who is already immune based on earlier infection. And also, how do we monitor the efficiency of vaccines that go to market? So those are the things that we'd like to have in the healthcare, but we have a few challenges. So as I mentioned already earlier, current lab-based tests take a lot of time, which create a loss of many days from infection to a positive test. Also, the fact that you need to have trained personnel do this makes the test expensive and limits the capacity. And that means that it takes even longer to get people tested. I don't know who of you has undergone a COVID-19 test already, but having a nasal swab is not a very friendly way of testing, and it requires trained staff. And there is no reliable way of exchanging data. And in order to globally fight the pandemic, we need to have accurate and fast data availability. Now, typically we are a few days behind reality. I mentioned PCR testing, so it's a good test with high sensitivity, but you can also detect parts of the virus that are not causing any symptoms or spreading. So the specificity is somewhat limited, and you need a professional environment. So what that led us at AMS to do is find a way to move from the centralized lab environment to a very fast, highly accurate solution, which is cloud-based, both for antibody as well as antigen, which means antibody is a test you do to see whether you're immune, whether you had the virus or not. And antigen is the test that is required to detect whether you are infected now with the COVID-19 virus. So what is a lateral flow test? One of the most known examples is the pregnancy test, where you test whether you're pregnant, and you see that with two lines or a single line if you're not pregnant in a visual lateral flow test. For pregnancy, that's a good approach because it's easy to detect the hormones that show that you're pregnant or not. So there is a very clear line visible, and you only need to know yes or no. When it comes to detecting a virus like COVID-19, it's not as obvious because the line might be very faint if there is a little virus content in the sample. So it's not objective. A doctor has to look at the line and decide whether it's a positive or a negative. And that's sometimes very difficult with the human eye. Of course, it's not connected. So you just do the test. And then if you want to register, you need to do a lot of paperwork. And it's because of the limitation of the human eye, it's not sensitive nor quantitative. So what we have been developing in the last years and now are translating into a COVID-19 test is a spectral sensor enabled test. So the spectral sensor looks at the line and the color of the line. And based on that, it decides whether it's a positive or a negative. But because it's so sensitive and objective, it can also detect better than the human eye. And it can also give an indication on the quantity of virus. We have that in two forms. One is a disposable, where it should be very easy for everyone to use that device. And the other one is a reader approach, where you can plug in the strip, and then the sensor is inside the reader. And also there you can connect it to the cloud. So how does that work? So what we have done, and you see a picture there of the buildup of the test, it's relatively simple. You have the strip in the middle, then on top there is a PCB with an optical module, including the spectral sensor. And that's all put into a housing. And this is then connected via Bluetooth to the phone, and the phone is connected to the cloud. And in order to adhere to all the medical rules, the cloud service is medically certified, data is encrypted. And with this solution, we can do quantitative results for antibody measurements. Again, linked to vaccine introduction, it's unclear at the moment how a vaccine will be in the future, how effective will it be, and how long will it last. So it's important that we can detect the level of antibodies in a human body to see whether you need to go for a second round of vaccination. And for the antigen tests, the focus is on making it so sensitive that you can use saliva instead of having a nasal swab. And then the results of a lateral flow test will be objectively made available through the cloud within 15 minutes. So no need to wait. If you're standing in a line at an airport, you can test and directly know whether it's safe to continue your travel. One of the key benefits of the spectral sensor solution is that it does not only enable an electronic readout, it's also super sensitive. So we did a lot of comparison studies, and we can perform very close to benchtop reader performance. So if you compare the solution with a professional lab equipment at a hospital, you get very similar results, both on the sensitivity as well as on the quantity that you measure. And we even go one step further to enable the saliva-based antigen testing by moving from color, which is the well-known pregnancy test, to fluorescence-based solutions. And with fluorescence on the right-hand side, you see a picture. You can even further increase sensitivity such that we can detect at an even earlier stage of infection. And why is that important? If you see, here is a very simplified graph of how the virus acts and what your body does. So in the middle, you see this graph, and at the left side, you see when someone gets infected. Typically, it takes a couple of days after infection to show symptoms, and some people don't show symptoms at all. If you're showing symptoms, you're also infectious, and even before showing symptoms, you can be infectious. So it's crucial to do the test as soon as possible, because the period which is mentioned as antigen is where you're infecting other people potentially. So it's important to know whether you need to go in quarantine or not. And then at a certain moment in time, and that's the blue line, your body starts producing antibodies. And then, of course, the level of virus goes down. If you look at today's LFT, lateral flow test solutions in the market, they can only detect the virus if there is a high concentration. So after showing symptoms, and then only for a couple of days. And with the fluorescence-based antigen solution, we can increase the sensitivity, and therefore we can detect earlier and longer. And then when moving to the phase where the body has created antibodies, we can use the antibody test and therefore cover the full cycle of the virus. So this is really crucial for pandemic control, of course. Early testing allows for smart decisions on lockdowns or very localized lockdowns. And again, the quantification will help also a lot to learn about the virus. So here we see a graphical representation of how simple it can work. So on the left lower side, you see a picture of one of our customers' products based on the Spectral sensor. There is an encrypted connection to the phone. The phone does the, let's say, the administrative work. It shows the user how it should be handled, and it encrypts the data towards the cloud. In the cloud, the actual data analysis is done. So the data from the Spectral sensor is analyzed in the cloud, and then it shares the results with the healthcare service or with the end user. And again, all is developed such that it obeys to all the privacy rules and the medical rules. So with this, it allows companies or governments or sports clubs or universities to have a very fast and controlled way of checking people and making sure that it's safe for everyone to work or to go out. AMS cannot do this alone. So we have been focusing in the last, I would say, 5-6 months to accelerate the go-to-market of this product. Since we have been innovating in this domain for a couple of years, we were able to develop the system solution. We were partnering with an ODM to manufacture the PCBs, and with diagnostics companies to provide the chemistry. And I think this is a great example where the semiconductor industry is helping bringing solutions to market by working together and bringing consumer level electronics to the medical space. So to make this work, we need to partner with the ecosystem, and we're inviting diagnostics companies to come to AMS and work together, because the demand is so huge. So we are looking for companies that can help us serve the demand as soon as possible. And then on the last slide, this is a press release that we did some time ago. Actually, I have a first prototype of the product here. This is called the green light corona test. So if you click on it, you see a green light here. That's where people put in their blood sample, and then after 10 to 15 minutes, the analysis is done and the result is known. So with that, I would like to invite any of the audience and other partners in the industry to work together with us to bring us all to a smart nation with smart decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Wim. So thank you for the presentation, and we can see some of the questions here. One is from Raja. I think he has two questions and they are related. He asked, do you see domain knowledge experts like doctors, medical scientists, chemists, mechanical and civil engineers become part of the semiconductor companies? Like just like IT is part and parcel of companies, so do you see semiconductor professionals will be working in hospitals, financial centers, transportation hubs, etc.? So these semicon people directly plugged into these industries, will it enable innovation faster?
Absolutely. And this is, I think that's a very interesting question. We see that need ourselves as well, because as I mentioned, this is bringing consumer electronics together with the medical industry. And if you combine also the domain experts in a single company, you can do innovation much faster. So and AMS is working on that as well to bring in biochemistry experts. Yeah.
I see. So the next question is, when do you think the digital LFT will be deployed worldwide? And with this LFT, I presume we can do without quarantine constraints?
Yes, I mean, the first products will hit the market in about a month from now. And more will come out in the upcoming months, Q4 and Q1 next year. The interesting thing is this is of course all accelerated with the COVID-19 virus, but the original intention of AMS when we started the innovation 2 years ago, we didn't even know about this virus, of course. So there is a ton of other opportunities out there. So I say this technology is accelerated with the COVID-19. But will spread to other areas like monitoring heart attacks, certain vitamin concentrations in the body. This will all grow in the upcoming year, I would expect.
That's good to hear. So here's a question from YH from NI. I suppose there are partners who have respective SME in this area who want to collaborate with AMS. How and who can we reach out?
Yeah, so you can either reach out to our local team. So we as AMS have offices all over the place, but of course you can reach out to me and I'll channel it into the right people.
Okay, that's good. And here comes a question from Charlie. Hi, Wim, may I ask, what's the testing accuracy of the AMS unique LFT? What's your sample size?
Yeah, so this is not so much only depending on AMS. This is the combination of the strip, the biochemistry that is used together with the sensor. So for the actual, let's say, performance data, we have to wait for the final solution. We do have very promising results, as I showed in the picture, with comparing with a benchtop reader. What we have seen so far is that what we can achieve is order of magnitude more sensitive than what is out there in the market today. And for detailed data, please reach out and then we can discuss in more detail.
Sure. And Eugene from Nexus Micro asking, how extensive were the AMS LFT solution trials in the field and what were the results? Is the solution already pre-approved by medical authorities in some countries?
That's ongoing at the moment. So this is, we have multiple companies we work with, multiple partners, and the actual trials are ongoing. So this is, I would say that the trials itself is not more expensive than a normal lateral flow test. You just have to go through the procedure, and it can be done fast because the sensor only makes the strip better because it's more sensitive than the human eye. So if a COVID-19 test has been approved, it only gets better with using the spectral sensor technology.
I see. So Tech Ming from CEI is asking, can we know where is the kit manufactured?
Yeah, that will be at multiple places. So AMS is not, let's say, the owner of the end product. So we work with customers and invite more partners. So the kit manufacturing will be done at a place defined by the end customers. So we'll have a kit manufacturer that will do that in Europe, in Germany, but we're also working with other customers where it could be done in the US or other regions. So it depends on the end customer, and we're happy to share, to reach out where you can find our customers who are bringing this to market.
Okay, and here comes, I think it's not a question, but a comment from Arti. She said, it is good to see that people will have to do away with the painful nasal swab test, and this will be a major plus.
Yes, that's, I try to prevent to get tested because I don't want to undergo this nasal swab, right? So.
Yeah, that's true. So are there any questions for Wim? Wim, can I ask, is this application only valid for the COVID-19 virus?
Well, I mean, the start and the drive is, of course, COVID-19, but as I mentioned, it applies to any lateral flow test. And we see this as a start of a long road of innovations. Spectral sensing, because you look at different wavelengths, will allow really interesting solutions where you can even think of having more tests combined into a single strip. One of the areas everyone is afraid of now is that we are hitting the influenza time frame. So if you are having symptoms, is it influenza, which is probably harmless, or is it COVID-19? So we foresee also innovations in that area where you can start combining tests of different viruses. And then there is a whole range of tests that you can add to this. And the important thing is that for professionals, but also for governments, you can combine all the data that is gathered into a system, a dashboard system, which will also not only help fight the pandemic, but it also will help us to learn about the behavior of the virus. So I think the combination of highly sensitive testing with a data gathering approach will hopefully prevent any of these worldwide pandemics in the future, because we can react way faster.
Interesting. So while we are waiting for more questions come in, may I ask, actually, will AMS sell the product directly to professionals and even to the consumer market?
Yeah, that's a good question. We as AMS, we enable the solution. We will not sell it directly to end customers or to professionals. So that's why we work with the ecosystem, we work with diagnostics companies. AMS is enabling it. So we can provide the full system, the PCB, even up to including the housing, if that's requested by the customers. But AMS will not be the owner. So we will help our customers to get it up and running as soon as possible. And then our customers will bring it to market.
So that means you will work with partners to make it go to the market, right?
Yeah.
I see. So any other questions for Wim? If no more, thank you, Wim. Thanks for the presentation and thanks for all of your answers.